Hello and welcome to this screen scene Meet Me at the Movies Spotlight. Noel T. Manning the second here. And there are some films out there that entertain us. There are others that educate us. And then there are some that just become a part of who we are. Well, Morgan Neville knows how to do that. He is a multi-award winning filmmaker bringing stories to life that reflect childhood heroes like Mr. Fred Rogers or the comedy genius of Steve Martin. So when Morgan decided to turn the lens on Paul McCartney in Man on the Run, following the years after the Beatles and the formation of Wings, I was especially eager to see what story that Morgan would uncover. Because for me, McCartney has always been personal, and some of my earliest music memories are riding in the car with my mom and listening to Paul McCartney and then listening to Wings and discovering the power of the Beatles and what McCartney has to say within his music, within his words, and within his personality. I've had the chance to see McCartney live twice, including a concert that was broadcast and recorded live at the former Blockbuster Pavilion in Charlotte, and his presence on stage is captivating and it is enduring. Man on the Run feels both like a time capsule and also a revelation. So today, we're really excited to have Morgan Neville joining us to talk about Man on the Run. Hi, this is Noel T. Manning II from Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies. Morgan, it is so wonderful to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. And just at the beginning, I have to say that I see Fred Rogers over your shoulder. So that instantly grabs my attention. I love it.
Well, I before we dive into Man on the Run, I just want to tell you that Won't You Be My Neighbor remains one of my all-time favorite films. It is a go-to reminder of the power of kindness and positivity that our world needs always. And I just want to thank you for that. And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for spreading the gospel.
Absolutely. Well, when you approach somebody like Fred Rogers, or in this instance, Paul McCartney, figures who have this enormous cultural mythology, how do you approach finding that human being beneath the icon?
I mean, particularly with somebody like Paul McCartney, of which there's so much that has been said, written, and documented. I really felt that there was a part of Paul's story that hadn't really been explored. And somebody who's devoured Beatles films and books my entire life, it was really this period of time after the Beatles breakup and the period of time where he actually struggles greatly. I think I said to him, I really wanted to make a film more about his emotional journey than kind of the albums to album kind of thing, and in a way, the idea that Paul McCartney is a musical genius, let's put that on the shelf. We all know Paul McCartney is a musical genius. Let's make a film about a guy named Paul who's dealing with the breakup of his band and has to ask himself these questions. So, for me, that was a great starting point.
Morgan, I really loved that kinetic pacing of the first few minutes of this documentary. It set the stage for where the world was and where Paul was at that particular place and time in his life and the questions that were starting to unfold. I was also impressed by all the off-camera interviews, how they were woven into the story. Was that always a plan for both of those, the off-camera voiceovers and that opening?
It kind of was, I never filmed any of the interviews. I knew I wanted it to be audio, in part because the interviews could be different. They could be more intimate. I could do hours and hours of them, which I did with Paul. But also suddenly the story is present tense. It's not older people looking back on 50 years ago. You're just kind of in the story of the time and you're never breaking it. You're going through the 1970s. And so that part of it, I really liked. And the opening with the Beatles and opening with the song The End was something I was like, oh, I kind of love that idea of starting with the end.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Morgan, as you were conducting the interviews, looking through the research, going through all of these archives, were there things that surprised you? Were there treasures that you found along the way and you said to yourself, I cannot wait to share this with an audience?
Oh, so many things. I mean, there were the things that I found in the world, odd news clips, like the clip of him getting busted for having some marijuana plants at his farm in Scotland in the early 70s, just that were so funny, like, or photos we came across. But Paul's archive itself was pretty incredible. And there was a lot of stuff in there that people hadn't seen. And, it helped that Paul married a photographer, Linda. So she documented a lot. I mean, for people who were living on a rural farm, they sure took a lot of pictures.
Absolutely. If there are any final thoughts you want to make sure that audiences know before they head into Man on the Run, what would that be?
I mean, I've noticed now screening it for different people that if you are a fan, there is still a lot to be learned, but also screening for people that don't really know the story, even for college students. It's kind of a story about how to be an artist in the world. And, what are the big important questions you have to ask yourself?
Morgan, thanks for offering the vulnerability that we see within this film. And thank you for all that you do for documentary. And I appreciate your time today here on Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies.
Absolutely. Great talking to you.
Man on the Run is not about chart topping hits or fame. It's really about starting over. It's about navigating doubt, building something new, and holding on to the people and the passions that matter most to you. For those who grew up with McCartney's music woven into their earliest memories, this documentary is more than a personal time machine. It's actually a reminder that invention is possible at any stage of your life. Again, I'd like to thank Morgan Neville for taking time to be with us and for sharing this deeply human portrait. It's one that explores myth, it explores music, and it explores meaning below and beyond the surface. Man on the Run is available on Amazon Prime. For Meet Me at the Movies and for Screen Scene, I'm Noel T. Manning II, and for this week, that is a wrap.
Won't you come and meet me at the movie?